We're all familiar with the story of Noah and the flood. But it's interesting how Scripture introduces Noah to us. It says that he was a righteous man, a pure righteous man in his generation. What exactly is the point of that extra notation, in his generation? Well, some of the sages say it means that specifically in his generation, he was a righteous man. He lived in a time of wickedness, profound wickedness, that the Almighty was going to destroy the world because human beings had descended to such a low level of behavior. They were worse than animals. And it was only in comparison, in contrast to those corrupted individuals, that Noah would have been considered righteous. But had he lived in a later time, let's say the time of Abraham, a time where there was righteousness in the world, he really would not have been considered such a righteous person. But other sages say no, just the opposite. It's not that he was only considered righteous in contrast to his generation. Rather, it's he was considered righteous because of the evil of his generation. Because the truth is that we are all affected by our environments. The culture we live in, it raises us up or it pulls us down. And for Noah to have lived in a time of such corruption and retained a sense of purity and righteousness, that was truly heroic. And therefore, it's a matter of praise, not a matter of left-handed complimenting. But the truth is that both interpretations are correct. Noah was heroic to resist the downward pull of his generation, but at the same time, he couldn't resist it completely. Had he lived in a generation of the righteous, he would have been even more righteous. He was limited in the potential that he could achieve because of his environment. And so when we find ourselves living in a world where ethical values are becoming far less common, it's much harder for us to hold ourselves to a higher level of ethical behavior and idealism. And it's much easier for us to rationalize, allowing ourselves to sink into the morass of moral anarchy. The great American entrepreneur Jim Rohn said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And this speaks so beautifully to the topic of Noah. Sometimes we can't control our environment. And when that happens, we have to do the best we can. But to the degree that we can, the people that we associate with, the media that we consume, the books that we read, the shows that we watch, the news that we listen to, these things affect us. And if they have a base message, if they promote character assassination or ideology or groupthink, they will pull us down. But we can choose to filter them out. There's something called an off button. It's possible to change channels. We don't have to follow the YouTube algorithm that tells us what to watch next. We can be selective. We can be discerning. And in the people that we associate with, if we find ourselves around people who gossip and backbite and are really out for themselves, those are not the people we want to keep company with. We want to find people who inspire us to be the best we can be. People that we have to earn the privilege of being in their company. People that, if they let us in, will only want us around if we demonstrate that we too aspire for refinement, for intellectual outlook, for intellectual integrity, moral integrity. If we surround ourselves with people and with impulses and with messages that are positive, inspirational, and aspirational, then we will develop into people like Noah, who achieve the potential we are capable of achieving, despite whatever limitations our environment seeks to impose on us.